First of all, we want to welcome everybody again to the call. Had kind of a Halloween theme, and we get to move on to training by none other than Bill Predebon. He is a guy that is not scary in the least, but he does like to have a good time, and we're glad he's here with us this morning. Bill, how are you?
Hey, my friend, how can you hear me okay, Ron?
You sound just great.
Well, that is good news. It looks like a few people are scared to get on this call this morning. We're only at 64.
Yeah, we need to text a few friends and get them involved, don't we?
Yeah, well, I would agree. If anybody wants to share this information with some other folks, it should be a pretty good call. Yeah, thanks for putting that music together. It's pretty funny. That's awesome. In the spirit of Halloween, of course. And Ron, thanks a lot for obviously for everything you do and for taking control of this call every day and making it easy on me every time I get on it, whether I'm training or listening. It's awesome. I appreciate it. All right, folks. I am ready to kick off this call. Ooh, Lonnie, thank you very much for that wonderful accolade there. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Lucy. Welcome. I am going to go ahead and type in my my cell number just so you guys have it. And for those of you who are listening, it's 760-533-3141. That way you guys have that information, 760-533-3141. Feel free to reach out to me with anything. So I was thinking about this training, and I am glad you guys are here. And as you all know, if you want to chat and ask a question or bring up a topic, regardless of what it's about, I will break my train of thought and I will gladly entertain and mastermind with you on your question or topic. So I'm going to tell a little story here, a theory story, and to begin with, you guys. So check this out. I think this is going to be some pretty good stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about some scary thoughts and haunted secrets in joking, right? There's no secrets, but so if you think about wealth creation, I'm going to tell you this, that I'm going to admit to being ignorant, right? So I'm in my late 40s, just in case anybody was wondering. And in my 20s, I went to Michigan State University and graduated college, and I was going to go to law school. And I went out to Vail, Colorado, and to take a year to explore the Rocky Mountains. I was a skier my whole life. I went to a couple of Junior Olympics when I was racing nationally, and so I really liked skiing. So I took a few years off when I was at college. I really didn't ski much, but I went out to Vail. I had an opportunity to go out there. And so I was in Vail and I skied, and I was basically totally a ski bum for 10 years almost. 1 year I left Vail and I went to the beach and I lived out in San Diego. In fact, I lived out of my truck for like 2 weeks with my 2 cats and my best friend until we found a place to live and saved up enough money so we could get a place on the beach. But the point to that is that my entire 20s and even into my 30s, I was pretty ignorant to a crash in real estate. Like, I'm guessing and I'm assuming we're at 71 people, that there's a few of you that are younger than me, a lot of you. And so when I didn't really know, like when I bought my first business, which was Played Again Sports, when I was 30 years old, and I moved back out to California to start that experience with those stores. Like I literally didn't know anything about economics. I didn't understand real estate markets. I didn't understand, and not only did I not understand them, you guys, I didn't even know what they were. So talk about, like I had no fear, right? I didn't even know they existed. But if you fast forward to now, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, understanding the crash that we had, but you guys, we we absolutely, there was a question here. Can we invite others on the call? I would say no. I would make sure that you're at least an IMA. I don't know if you have to have a package or anything right now, but I would say you have to be an IMA to be on the call. I would say it's a privilege and an honor to be on the call, and that gets you that being an IMA. So that's just a real quick question. Cool. So here's what you think. Like the crash happened in 2008, as we all know, 2006, 2007, 2008, depending on where you're living. And, we hit rock bottom at the end of 2008, and it was more of a recession. It was a historical downfall of the real estate market and so on and so forth. So many of you were even in your teens, and if you're in your 20s right now, it was 10 years ago. So you didn't even, your parents might have experienced, and maybe they told you a little bit about it, but there was, you didn't experience it. And so like the crash of 88 and the whole, even the 2001, or the 2000, computer crash, the crash after 9/11, things like that. Those things were there but I was not in any market. I didn't own stock and I didn't own real estate. I just worked. So, it wasn't something that really affected me as far as like I could take advantage of or lose my whole world of my stock market, and everything crashed on me and everything went bad. Right. So like, if we think about this, in the spirit, I like that, right, with Halloween, in the spirit of wealth creation, right? If we talk about, you guys are positioned, and this is what is going to help you with your clients and your students, in my opinion. This is it. In the spirit of wealth creation is not about flipping a house, enrolling a student. It's not about doing a deal. It's not about wholesaling or anything. Those things are money-making activities that create exceptional income, right? If you get it done and you get a deal done and you don't lose, they will make you some good money. And then it's up to you to put the money to work. And typically when people come into money they're not used to, and if you're working a W-2 and you're making the average salary across the country and you flip a house and make 20 grand in 3 months, that's more money than you're probably going to be used to. And if you don't know what to do with it, typically you're not going to do anything with it except spend it. You're going to try to hold on to it, but naturally you're going to end up back in the same position you typically always are, or you're going to quit your job, and then some things are going to happen and it's not going to happen again as fast as you would have liked it to. So, but wealth creation, you guys, wealth creation is this. You have an opportunity that I didn't have when I got started. There were no credit repair classes. Okay. My credit was in the shitter. I mean, it was zero, right? I mean, it was like I don't even know what it was. It was under 500. I had filed bankruptcy only 2 years in, to my discharge hadn't even been a year since when I found Renatus, right? And so, I was trying to get a credit card, and I got two my premier credit cards that were like $300 and $200 were my credit limits, right? Luckily, they weren't unsecured, or they were unsecured. So there were no credit repair classes. I had to go pay companies to do it. There were no financial literacy classes at all involved in our company at that time. We didn't have any Garrett Gundersons. We didn't have any, Matt Sorensen was not teaching. We had a self-directed retirement account class, but we didn't have this theory of wealth creation. We had buy and hold, right? A 2-day buy and hold class, but it wasn't structured around rental income and the creative acquisitions classes, things like that could create this wealth. And then all of the other classes inside the business credit, expediting your retirement, understanding whole life policies and things like that. So if we look at it, you guys, this is so key. I was just talking to one of my, some pretty sophisticated investors that are out here that I associate with, and a lot of people right now that are in the real estate industry, they're selling some of their assets. They are selling their houses. The market is at the peak, right? And here's the thing. I'm not saying don't flip houses right now. And in fact, we don't know when it's going to recede again. And it will, right? And most of us are in markets that are fairly volatile. They go up and down. We're not in the Midwest where they're pretty stagnant and they only drop 5 or 10%. We are in markets that go up and down 10, 20, 30%. So it's pretty significant when your house values are $250,000 median, or even up, 500, 800,000 like California, and they drop 30%. That's a significant amount of money that you can get a house on discount. So if you think about it, if you think about even John O'Neill's story, right? So he bought a house that really set him up in 2010, I think it was. He bought that house, I think, before he found Renatus in 2013. So that house has more than, I think it's almost tripled in value since he bought it. And he bought it because it was so far upside down, but not really even knowing that. They just had good credit and they were fortunate enough to be able to buy a house. You're fortunate enough to understand that you can set yourself up for the next crash, and it's coming, right? And I don't know when it's coming, and I don't know how much it's going to be, but it will recede. It's proven. If you ask Chris Wilson, we understand the cycle in Arizona and California and how many years it takes, and the recession has set us back by about an additional entire cycle where we stayed down the whole time. So if you can set yourself up, now this is for your clients, right? As you're talking to them, this is about being able to utilize your lines of credit. You've heard me say this before. If you're not getting a HELOC right now while the banks are lending, you're crazy, right? And if your credit's not good enough to get a HELOC on your house or get lines of credit, even if you don't own a house, then work on your credit. Like, that will bring you more value than flipping a house and making 10 grand and splitting it with a partner. Again, I'm not saying don't flip a house, but what I'm saying is this has to happen simultaneously, because you can set yourself up where you've got credit lines, you've got good credit, you've got a W-2 job, and you have opportunity. And if you enroll students, you start to stash away some cash, and you put some cash away for when the market crashes. And then you buy long-term real estate, or you partner with people. You learn how to raise money so that when the market does crash, you can partner for long-term wealth, and you buy property on sale and you rent it out, and you know how to do that. And you set yourself where those houses are bought under market value already, number one, because you're buying under market value no matter what the market's doing. But number two, you're buying at a discount, just based as a bonus discount based on the fact that we're in a crash, that we're in a recession, that we're in a market down, right? We're in a down market. So if we think about this, you can create double the equity and double the return and double the net worth based on being able to buy real estate when the market goes down. Now, the question is the market scary, right? If we go back to Halloween and we start thinking about the market and it being scary. So the market's always scary. But when the market's moving like it has for the last couple of years, and really right now it's really on fire, there's no real scare. There's nothing scary necessarily about doing a flip in 3 to 4 months, right? The market doesn't move that fast, but it moves, and you might miss the ball by 10% because it started to slide a little bit. But if you've got a good product in the right price range where most of the people are buying, you probably can still unload it in time, right? What happens is, what's scary is we don't know, right? We don't know. So what we do is, if you think about it, if you're driving around in your markets, there's a lot of people buying. Now, remember, I'm gonna relate this to your marketing here in a minute, but you got to understand this. Like, this is the education that you guys are going to get. This is the experience that you guys can offer your students, your potential students, when you're talking to them. Like, when you're having deeper conversations, and perhaps in a more of a follow-up scenario, you're not going to have these deep conversations necessarily with a cold market or a 3-foot rule prior to going to the meeting. Okay, this is far more in depth. But honestly, when you're talking about friends, family, when you're talking about warm market, when you're talking about people that have been 1 or 2 events, and you've got this kind of knowledge, like, it's going to get them thinking. Like, think about this. Most people are buying, like, I just was walking my dogs and I watched this one house for over a year being flipped. And they're just, I don't know what the guy's doing. He must, it's a builder. And I'm like, this guy's never built a damn home. He's probably been a construction guy his whole life. And he has no education, because I could have built, I've bought and sold 5 houses since this guy's, and it's not even a tear now. Then I just saw this house around the corner that got tore down a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. And I was like, damn it, that would have been a good deal. It's right around the corner from my house. It's in a fantastic area. And, I watched the lot sit there. Now they're moving fairly quickly, but they're waiting on permits. I mean, they are waiting on permits. It's 4 months in Phoenix. And so when you think about a new build, you're talking about a year long, right? And what's scary is what happened before, and what happens to folks is this. They get excited. They get one deal, and as you guys all know, the law of attraction, things start to happen. You get one student enrolled, you've got a pipeline, the tsunami's coming up behind you, all the work that you've done for the last 2 years in your marketing business starts to take off. And you know that when you do a first deal, the next deal's already in the pipe, because you've been looking at 100 deals to try to get one, and all of a sudden some of the other ones come back to you. Look at Landon Stokey and Nate Lambert and all these guys. The deals start to happen. So you get caught up. You start borrowing a little bit more money. You're taking higher risk because you're more experienced now, and you're putting less down on the property, or you're not worried about an exit strategy as much as only using one exit strategy. And all of a sudden you get caught up in what seems to be 3 or 4 or 5 projects. You're buying bigger projects that need more rehab, take down some walls. They're in a higher price range, and higher price range properties, there's 2 things against them, right? Obviously the profits, the good side of it, and the same amount of work goes into it, but you got way less buyers pool, and they take way longer to sell, and the people that are buying can be way more picky. So you got to be spot on with your construction and your choices of finishes, and all of those things start to play in a bigger property. So you start to take these chances, and all of a sudden the market corrects. The market does what it always does, and you can't predict. No one can predict it when it's going to be. Is it going to be 2020 before the election? Is it going to be a year from now when it's next fall and things start to slow down? Is it going to wait till the following year in the spring? But spring is always the best time of the year anyway. So is it going to be the summer of 2020? When is it going to be? When they start to do the election process and they're campaigning? When is the crash coming? We don't know. Is it going to make it through? Maybe everybody thinks Donald Trump's going to get elected again, so then the economy is going to be strong and we're not worried about it. Who knows? But it's going to happen. And if you're stuck with a bunch of real estate, it doesn't matter how much education you have, because you took greater risk and you weren't prepared for major exit strategies. But if you are waiting and anticipating it, and you have an opportunity, now think about this, you guys. This is so cool. This is what brings down our scariness, our fear, is that we have an opportunity to sell people education because they're following the media. The media is ablaze with real estate, how strong the economy is. Look at the stock market. Look at this, look at that, look at the new homes, look at all the statistics, right, that have been building over the years. And so people are out there understanding that there's potential in real estate. So they're looking for real estate education. They're looking to get into it. They're looking to understand it. They're looking to buy their first home. They're looking to buy their first rental. They're looking to upgrade. You guys, people want what we have right now. People want what we have. So take advantage of your time and your knowledge and sell them this stuff. Sell them her education. You guys, get them the opportunity that we have, because they're excited about it. And then they can learn what's really true, that it's not just about flipping a house up market. They get to have the same opportunity and knowledge that we have, which is let's not follow the masses, but let's prepare. Let's get our credit repaired. Let's stash away some cash. Let's have credit lines. Let's have cash reserves so that when the market crashes, we can take advantage. And if you take advantage in a market crash, if we bought property in 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13 and held on to it today, you'd be done. You'd be finished, because you would have made triple what you bought it for. And they would be so low that you would be cash flowing the property far greater than if you pay retail in an up market, or even a discount property on an up market. There's so much opportunity here. So the scary thing is you don't know the market. You know, a lot of people and if you think about this, ignorance is probably what it is, and lack of experience. Like when you think about me, and what I said, I had no idea that a market could crash. So when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2006, and I used my experience as a loan officer to refinance one of my girlfriend's houses, right, who's now my wife, and then I went ahead and used her credit to buy a bigger house that was going to go up, and we weren't concerned with selling it, or we weren't concerned with the payment. We weren't concerned with an adjustable mortgage. None of these things bothered me because I didn't know any better, and I didn't know that the market could even crash. And that's how ignorant I was when I started. And so I was just doing what everybody else was doing, which was buying another house whatever way I could so that I could take advantage of the market going up. And, during these up times right now, people are making a lot of money in a lot of different industries. The construction industry, the trade industry, right? The sales industry, the tech industry is always going to be strong. But even loan officer industry, real estate agent industry, all of these things, the different markets, pool builders, as you start thinking about car sales, it's crazy, right? All of these things are literally tied to the economy and what's going on. So the thing is people start making money and they start to spend the money. It's a cycle, and the economy and the government and the wealthy count on it. They count on the fact that they're going to make more money, which means they're going to spend more money, which is going to continue to grow the economy, right up until it crashes. Now, the wealthy are going to have enough reserves to make it through the crash. They're not going to get over leveraged and things like that, but everybody else is. Everybody's going to buy a little bit. Their credit's going up. Their credit lines are opening up. They're getting more credit lines, and they're going up, and they're using them. They're over leveraging because they don't anticipate a stop. They don't anticipate a downfall. And so if you have no real estate and you have no long-term wealth strategies, like real estate that cash flows no matter if the market goes to zero and the house is worth nothing, but you still have a renter in there and it cash flows, you still have money coming in. You don't have to sell your asset, right? You don't have to sell your house because you didn't over leverage it and you weren't waiting on refinancing it or trying to sell it in 3 years or any of those things. You bought it for a long-term strategy. So if you're only relying on business and all of a sudden the business stops, then that's where people get in trouble. So if we're only doing our marketing and we quit our job and we're counting on the marketing and the marketing slows down because people can't get lines of credit to try to fund the marketing, the education, people try to get lines of credit what happened back then is that the market made itself where not a lot of people were interested in real estate anymore because it was going down. And so the demand for the real estate investing education wasn't there. But what Bob's done is he's created, as a genius that he is he's created a demand even in a down market. When real estate might not be the greatest thing, fix and flip is not the greatest thing. We have other strategies that are there for us when markets go down. Not only do we have other strategies in our education when markets go down, but we also have education in there for when markets are down, where you can use different, where you understand credit, you understand wealth creation, you understand funding different types of insurance policies, all of these things when markets are down. You understand the idea of business and tax benefits and all of these things that can help you when you're not necessarily in an up real estate market flipping houses. And so, we have the ability to take a look at the whole course of AIT and the combo from a different perspective. When I first got started, you guys, basically, I wanted to be a flipper, right? We all wanted to do real estate. I didn't want to flip necessarily because it was a passion of mine. I wanted to flip because it made me money. And I needed not a little money, but a lot of money. And I needed to make it fast. So that's the attraction. But what I've learned over time is that the marketing and the real estate together are all about wealth creation. They are about sustaining any market. No matter what the market does, I can buy and sell real estate. And no matter what the market does, if I bought my rental properties correctly and I don't over leverage and I'm prepared and it doesn't matter what the value of my house is, I don't have to refinance it. I have long-term money in place. Yeah, I can. Hold on.
No. You want to cut?
Thank you, guys. Cool. Yeah, please remember to be muted. So someone else isn't muted, but we'll figure that out. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I mute everybody. I think we're okay right now. All right, cool. Thank you for reminding me. I'm glad I checked that out. So, so here's what we got. When we're talking to our folks, you guys, right? Let's think about where they're coming from. Like their scary thoughts, their haunted secrets are literally, will this work? Right? If you think about this, a lot of the folks that we talk to now, even if they're not in a W-2 job that is paycheck to paycheck, but they're living in a W-2 job or a business that's creating enough wealth for them or money for them, but they're still looking, right? Think about their scary thoughts. Their scary thoughts could be as simple as, will this work, right? But most importantly, they're thinking they're paycheck to paycheck. And the thing they're concerned about is, like, think about these are things I used to think about, right? Like, will I make my bills? Will I make rent? Right? That's scary. Do I have to work overtime? Do I got to get a second job? How, we're not really scared necessarily. I mean, some people might be, but most of the people we're talking to, we're not scared necessarily about being homeless tomorrow, but we're afraid we got to go back to friends or family for money. We're going to have to sell something. We don't want the eviction notice. We're going to get late notices. We're scared about our credit because we're going to miss a credit payment, and then it's going to hit our credit and we're scared. And then it becomes a cycle, and then we do it again a second time and our credit's bad. So then we think to ourselves, my credit's shot. I'm never going to be able to get credit. Like, these are scary thoughts. These are everyday real. Listen, be compassionate for your clients, you guys. Think about this. These are steps on how to think about your client. They are afraid of their everyday financial life, right? Now, if you think about a client that's one step up or two steps up from that W-2 job, that's someone that's younger or been stuck in a W-2 or had a divorce, 40-year-old people like me, 34 years old, do things well for a long time. Everybody's got a different story, and everybody has things going on for a while, and they're doing well. But then something happens and it hits them, and you catch them at that time, and it seems like they didn't take care of their finances, or they never got educated, whatever it is. It seems that way, but that might be the thing. But they're going through this. They're going through that. I mean, they are afraid. They're afraid, number one, of being stuck where they're at forever. That's why they're looking. They're afraid of being able to make their bills. They're afraid of not having extra money. They're afraid of not having any fun ever, right? And so they go and have fun, and they start to drink more, or they start to be a little bit more irresponsible because they work so hard for so long, and they put them, and they're so tired, and they just let go a little while, right? And then they can't afford financially to let go, but they do, because we're human. And so these are some of the scary thoughts. Now, you think about someone who's a little bit better. Maybe they put some money away. Maybe they've got kids and they've had a little bit more responsibility. Maybe they bought a house. Maybe they have some stock market 401k money, but they're afraid. They're afraid of their future because they're not willing to talk about it because it's embarrassing. And it's not something people are talked about in the United States. And it's not something we sit openly and discuss around a round table with our friends, unless, TD Ameritrade or someone sparks a conversation because of their new, after the crash, they've got all these new sentimental, emotional ads on TV about, investing in all this crap and how you don't pay all these extra fees, and, how you have a nice conversation with some stranger who's your financial planner. It's all crap, right? But if you think about it, they're afraid of retirement. Like, think about Dr. Gary. Dr. Gary's story is insane. And if you don't know it, learn it. Someone here, Lucy, said, my opinion is that they're afraid of reality and don't realize that they are in complete control of their future. Right. And most people don't realize, Lucy, that they're in control of their future. And they are afraid of reality. And when we hide from it, right? And even people at a higher level, they are afraid. They don't think about retirement and how much they're going to have. Most people are just not trained that way. We're just not taught that way. It's not their fault. It's not any of our fault. It just is what it is. It's why there's a 99% and a 1%, right? So they're afraid of not having enough money in their retirement. They're afraid of not being able to, not even knowing when to retire or what retirement looks like. Like, we have the opportunity to know that if we use rental income as a retirement source and we know how to pay down mortgages in a relatively short period of time, even if we take 10 years, right? If we take 10 years to do it, and we know that we can pay off, 5 homes in 10 years, making $1,200 a month. We know that we have $6,000 a month of income coming in. And we also know that the average home in your area is X amount of dollars. So if you're in the Midwest and it's $100,000, if you're out in Phoenix and it's $250,000 times 6, or I'm sorry, $250,000 times 5, you got $1.5 million in retirement, right? If it never goes up anymore. And that's if you do nothing else. Like, just look at that retirement number, you guys, that quickly, right? 6 homes, $250,000, $1.5 million of net worth, paid off at $0 owed on the houses, and $1,200 a month, average rent times 6. There you are, $6,000 a month or $5,200 a month, whatever, coming in, right? And you've got a pretty good living, right? That's equivalent to like $5 million of retirement. So we have the knowledge to understand our future and our retirement when it comes to real estate. Most people are afraid of real estate because they don't understand how they can acquire real estate. I have a girl who's so afraid. I short sold her house 10 years ago. She was my very first completed short sale. And I'll tell you, she came to the regional this weekend. She reached out to me on Facebook after all these years, and she's like, I need to do what you're doing. I have nothing. I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. She comes to Thursday night, sees Michael. She signs up for the combo, full boat, and she attends Friday regional and had to work Saturday. And she's coming again to see me do the presentation on Thursday, and we're going to finalize the funding. She's got equity in her home. Fortunately, she did buy a home during the crash after we short sold her house, and her credit was rebuilt after 3 or 4 years, and she was able to buy another house again. And so she's got some equity in her house to fund the education. And so the interesting thing is, she's scared to death of her future. She is scared to death of having nothing. She's scared to death to be dependent on her husband. That is a reality. If you look at Dr. Gary's story, he never thought that he would be afraid at his age, at 64. He did things right. He worked a long career. He generated a significant retirement account, and then he retired and he spent the money. And then some of the money went away with the stock crash of 2001, and some of it, the rest of it went away in the whole debacle in 2008, because he started to leverage things before 2008 stock market, or the crash hit, rather, the real estate crash hit, and it just, he wasn't working. He was retired. He was leveraging, refinancing, whatever they were doing. And I don't know the whole details, but got overwhelmed, and it took him down. Imagine the scary thoughts of being 64, you guys, and not having a dime, like not having anything. Like, he was losing his home, and they literally didn't know where they were going. Their family was not, their older family was gone, and their younger family didn't have the means to support them, didn't have the means to help them. All right? They're grown adult children were going through their own turmoil in the crash. They were part of being part of the 100 million people that got affected by this crash. Imagine the fear and the concern that Sylvia must have experienced, right? She's been a homemaker her whole life, helped him when he needed it in the churches, but was really the behind the scenes support, right? She can't even really get a job if she wanted to. This isn't 1 out of 100. This is 99 out of 100, right? This is 65% of Americans will retire never, right? So you have the ability to help these folks eliminate some of that fear. You know, sometimes when you have the right mindset, like for me, I have no fear of being broke again. I don't have any fear of it. I don't have fear of losing money on a deal. I don't want to lose money anymore on a deal. Trust me on that. But it doesn't scare me, right? Because I know that I have the tools and the knowledge and the resources from basically what Renatus has taught me and what Renatus still offers, that I can get back up, right? That I have several avenues of generating income. And I've learned how to create cash reserves, to create income whether I work or not, right? And to do these things. Most people don't have those tools. They simply don't. They have the ability to work. And if work is not available, as age creeps in, as markets decline, as the wealthy clamp down, and the wealthy being the banks, the government, everybody, clamp down on what they feel is important to them to get through the recessions, they will eliminate the folks that need their help, that need the jobs, that need the money. They don't care. They know what to do to get through it. The rest of the American population will have to survive, and many won't. It will crush them like it did. That's scary. I have a friend who I'm working on this land deal, and he's older than me. He was a military guy. He's a retired cop, and he's an entrepreneur. And he's found himself in a situation that is just horrible financially. And he's doing everything he can to get out of it. He's got some deals that are in the pipe that may or may not pay off. And his situation is desperate all the time. When I talk to him on the phone, I swear to God, he's going to jump off the highest building on any given day. Not because he's suicidal, but because his situation is so desperate financially. Had he learned what we can learn and what you can share with people in Renatus, this wouldn't be the case. So let's move forward. Let's talk about sharing this information. Let's talk about the house. So I try to, the whole goal of this was that I think it's important that we have the how-to. Like, I know that you guys know about Renatus and what it does. What's important that I try to get across is that you don't understand sometimes we don't understand the power of what Renatus really offers, right? And so that my goal was to help you guys and myself, this always helps me to get some clarity on the true reality of what Renatus has to offer. And when we understand that more fully, I think Michael and some of the PAC members, Richard Stock last night, with his passion on the webinar, when you talk about Christian Sadler and his ability to convey his messages, the genuine compassion in John O'Neill, all trickles down from Bob Snyder. But when you look at these guys and their conviction, and their belief and their true desire to help other people, meaning that they know that this is it no matter what. That's why they share it so much and so often without any fear, right? We have fear. We have haunted thoughts of being rejected. And that's kind of stupid. I mean, like, oh, I'm not, I don't want to ever hear the word no. That's not what I mean. It's just, we take it internally and we think to ourselves that, when I ask somebody to come to a meeting and they don't come, we feel like we failed in the way that we're not going to make money. We're not going to have anybody there. So no one's there. So we have no guests. So we feel bad again. We feel like it doesn't work. We feel like we may have said it wrong. What did we do wrong to them, to them not to see this? How can they not understand this? How can they not want to see what it is that I'm doing or we're doing and what we offer? So I think when we start to understand and truly remember, like when you go out on your campaign week after week and day after day and hour after hour to talk to people about this opportunity and invite them to meetings and follow up with them, when you have the end in mind, when you work with the desired outcome is not to get them to buy education so they can flip a house, right? They can get that anywhere. They can get it from YouTube. They can get it from a book. They can get it from deeper pockets, all that crap, right? That's fine. If you only know to flip in today's market, you will lose money flipping houses. I don't care. It might not be right away. It might not be on your first 5, but the minute you have 5 successful ones, you're going to flip again and the market's going to turn, or you're going to flip again because you didn't know something that you didn't realize because you went bigger and badder, and it happened. It will happen. People will lose their shirt flipping houses and they won't get in it again. But when you have a deeper goal in mind, when you have a farther end in mind, and you're not telling them this in the beginning, but you have it in your subconscious, you are consciously thinking that when they see this and you're able to follow up with them and you can give them the bigger picture, you can close them on the opportunity to get started with Renatus, because it's a much bigger picture. It's about understanding lines. It's about understanding loans. It's about paying down mortgages. It's about saving on taxes. It's about creating better credit, right? It's, most people, they think, I don't have any money or credit. I can't do real estate. Or I heard that you could do real estate. I just don't know how to do it. And that's all they think about is I don't have money and credit. It's not me, but this is who I am. I have time and I'm willing to do anything it takes to make a deal happen. Right. And that's all great. But their whole mindset forever, unless someone teaches them otherwise, is going to be they could care less about their credit. That's not important to them. Right. But those things become more important in the future. You want to be able to finance out of private money and out of partnership money and out of long-term higher priced money, so you can have long-term loans that you can pay down with lines of credit. And in order to get lines of credit, you need credit. Now, I understand you guys all know this, right? So, fortunately, no matter what your situation is on this call, I was talking to a couple yesterday. We were doing we were enrolling a student yesterday. I rolled an upgrade to, I think they're on the call today, actually. I enrolled an upgrade to a combo from an advanced and then enrolled a new combo. Actually, one of my students enrolled the new combo as his second combo sale. And we were talking, and I said, Renatus is not about, if you never learn to quit, and you've heard me say that before, if you never learn to quit, in parentheses, Renatus, and you apply anything, you begin to watch any of the education, even if you've not done a deal for 2 years, you've not enrolled a student. Renatus is not about if it happens, it's just a matter of when it happens. And these things may take you 10 years, right? It may take you 5 years, may take you 3, but it will happen. It will happen for you. And it will happen in a way that will create wealth, not just doing a first deal. you're going to do a first deal and you're not going to need all of the money that you make on the first deal. You're going to be able to roll that into something bigger and better, more advertising dollars, whatever it is, so you can help more people. Think about some of the thoughts for, is there someone in Renatus that offers assistance with credit repair? Oh, great. Yeah, credit nerds, their accounts. And we have credit classes that they teach, would be my suggestion. And then I would talk to your 5-star, Amy, and a lot of people that are 5-star qualified and have been around for a year or two understand credit fairly significantly because they've studied the classes, they've been around their accounts, and they've experienced themselves on how to fix credit and a lot of the things you can do yourself, as well as consult with credit nerds, for sure. Good question. So when we go forward this week with Halloween and the theme and everything, and with the drive system that Woody's teaching and what you guys have learned over the regional season here, you don't need any information from me on how to do this. You guys all know how to do this. I think that the message I wanted to get across is that if we remember, there's fear in everybody you talk to, not just yourself. Your fear can be overcome by what you hold in your combo, by what Renatus stands for and what Renatus is moving. Bob Snyder is young, very young. And now Bob Snyder has family involved in the business. Bob Snyder has resources and a drive like no one else. And he is going to fulfill the million entrepreneurs that he wants to successfully train, right? And so that goal is a ways away. So he's going to be around a while. So you can understand that the future of Renatus is not 58 classes. I don't know how many it's going to get to. I don't know where it's going to go. I have some ideas, but there are future classes, I'm sure, as the world changes and the markets change, that will benefit you beyond what you can even imagine right now. And it'll benefit our students. And if you can go into your conversations, especially your follow-ups and when you're booking people to events, and you can ask the right questions to bring up these topics, you can sell with conviction. You can sell with belief, and you can sell with the fact, like Michael says, that everybody needs Renatus because of what we have. And your fears will go down when you have this type of knowing, when you know that you have all the resources needed to be financially free through not just flipping houses, but everything we do, that the wealthy do, then you can tell people about this, and you can follow up knowing you can answer their questions. And that will help you move forward with asking people and talking to more people and selling more combos, in my opinion. That's what I'm going to use. All right. Cool. Any thoughts, comments, questions? I will see everybody on the call tomorrow at 7 with Michael Huggins. Anybody have any, if you don't have anything, let's see. I'll throw in my cell phone again, just in case you guys need it. 760-533-3141. I appreciate all of you guys being on the call. I think we're good. It's almost 8 o'clock. So have an amazing day. Make it a great day. Talk to somebody today and set yourselves up for a 12 to 24 month crash so that you can buy property for long-term wealth in the next crash in whatever market you're in, and you will thank me later. That's my story, folks. Have a great day. I'm so blessed to have you guys on this call and to listen to me, and I hope that it's of value. Have a happy Halloween. No more scary thoughts. All right, folks. Take care, everybody. You're welcome. Thank you, Lucy. Bye, everybody.